Strava. What's up everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. If you've been following my channel since last summer, then you probably know that my favorite shoe and the shoe I wore in my marathon this past fall was the New Balance Super Comp Trainer V1, the OG. At first, I wasn't too sure about this shoe. It felt almost like when you stepped in it that you had baby deer legs, like you couldn't really figure it out. But once I got in a groove with this shoe, it just became the ultimate shoe for me. Like I did not want to run in anything else, and it was just, I don't know, it just was magic for me. And you know, despite people saying it was too heavy to wear in a marathon, I didn't care. I wore it and it felt great. My feet felt great the next day and I had absolutely no regrets. So when I saw pictures of the V2, I was a little worried that maybe it wouldn't feel exactly the same or just would lose some of that magic. Well, I have it here today. Here it is, version 2 of the New Balance Super Comp Trainer. And we're gonna talk about everything that I think about this shoe. I have almost 20 miles in it. I think 16 or so at this point. So I think that's enough to kind of give you my initial thoughts and feelings and see if it really does hold up to the OG Super Comp Trainer. Before we talk about the Super Comp Trainer V2, I do want to please ask you to follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get to 10K followers. I'm getting there slowly but surely, and I need your help to do so. So if you like running content, you like reels and all that's high-tech stuff on Instagram now, go follow me at Run Like Keller and I'll give you some extra content. All right, without any further ado, let's dive into the Super Comp Trainer V2 and start with the run footage. Before we get started today, I do want to let you know that this shoe was sent to me by Running Warehouse and New Balance. However, neither company is going to see this before you. They can't tell me what to say, and all of my opinions are always my own. Right off the bat, the first improvement to the Super Comp Trainer is the upper. Not only is it lighter and just a lighter shoe in general, but I think the materials that they used here are going to be much more accessible and much more comfortable for a wider range of runners. They're using an engineered mesh here. It's extremely breathable and thin. In that midfoot, we don't have a ton of structure, but if you head back to the heel counter, there's a lot of padding around the ankle and the heel counter itself is pretty sturdy. Now in the OG, this was kind of like a knit mesh. It's a weird sort of vibe. I didn't love it. It was a little bit snug and just, you guys know, I'm really not a fan of these like heel counters where the padding is inside. This is just calling for irritation around your ankle. Not something I like. But here in the V2, we have a more standard traditional upper, and that's the kind of thing that I'm into. We have a thin tongue, but it is gusseted on both sides. With the laces and the tongue, I'm able to get a solid lockdown through the midfoot, and the laces are quite cool looking. They're like almost sort of rainbow. It overall feels a little more airy, more breathable, more accommodating, and my feet feel like they have room to do their thing. Turning the shoe over this way, I think I have a generally average amount of room. I don't think it's too narrow or too wide. I'm not positive if the shoe comes in wide. That would be a question for Wide Foot Jarrett of Believe in the Run. But for my narrow foot, this upper felt just fine. I had no issues with hot spots, blisters, or irritation in the upper of the SC Trainer V2, so I'll call that a win, and I'd say it's a big improvement over the upper of the OG version. All right, so now let's jump down to the midsole. In the original version of the Super Comp Trainer, the midsole was like nothing I had ever felt before. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I liked it at first, but over time it grew to be just my favorite underfoot experience. It had tons of stack, as you can see, and paired with that Energy Arc carbon fiber plate, it was just, I don't know, chef's kiss. Now for version 2, they've taken away some of the midsole foam to give you a more propulsive ride, a less kind of crazy feeling ride. But does it lose any of its magic? Let's talk about that part. So as you guys probably know already, the SC Trainer V2 is rocking New Balance's fuel cell foam, and inside the layers of fuel cell foam, there is a carbon fiber plate, which they call the Energy Arc. All of this makes for a pretty nice package. It's comfortable to run in. You feel that plate, but it's not aggressive like it might be in a super shoe. There's plenty of cushioning under your foot, so I think that people are gonna be able to take this miles upon miles. And because it's lighter, it's also a little bit more versatile than the first version of the shoe. The first 2 runs in it, I tried to go a bit easier to see how it would feel when I'm doing those like long slogging miles. And then my last run in the shoe, I did just a 5K, but more up tempo to see what it can do when I want to take it faster. And I think it does respond, and I was able to get up on my toes and get into a groove, a faster groove, while wearing this shoe, although my legs felt like lead that day, but I think that's a different story. Plenty of runners are going to really enjoy this shoe, and I really enjoyed this shoe. But when I think back to how I felt wearing the Super Comp Trainer V1, I feel like the SC Trainer V2 has lost a little bit of that oomph and that ooh and that ah and that wow factor that the first version had. I hadn't run in the V1 in quite a bit of time, so I was thinking, well, maybe I'm just not like remembering it that well. Maybe I'm hyping it up a little bit in my brain. So I went for a run in V1 this morning, and it kind of solidified my thoughts that, yeah, I think I like the midsole of V1 a little bit better. For me, that starts with just that there's more foam underfoot here, and I think that it gives the V1 a more exciting ride than V2. A more wild, perhaps unstable, sort of unruly ride? Sure, to some, but that was part of the magic that I really liked about this shoe. To me, the SC Trainer V1 was in a class of its own. There was really no other shoe on the market like it, and V2 feels a little more comparable to shoes on the market. Like the first one I think of is the Endorphin Speed 3. If your takeaway from what I'm saying is that they ruined the shoe, that's not at all true. It's just different. And sometimes different is good, and sometimes you kind of like it the old way. Despite the fact that this has less foam than the original, I think it can absolutely do long mileage without an issue. I can totally see myself wearing this in a marathon and having just as pleasant of an experience. And because of the slightly less foam and it being a little bit more lightweight, I think tempo, and from my experience, tempo is not an issue here either. So I think we have a more practical, more versatile shoe in the 2, and the 1 is just a crazy wild ride, a little bit heavier, so maybe not as versatile to some. Turning the shoe over this way, New Balance has plenty of nice neon green rubber around the outsole of this shoe and a little rubber pod in the center of the forefoot. The tread pattern is slightly different here than on the original, but it's pretty much the same and does just as good of a job on wet surfaces and pavement, all that sort of stuff, as the first one did. I'm not seeing any real issues to report here with the outsole, so far so good, and I'm interested to see if it holds up. The New Balance Super Comp Trainer V2 is available on runningwarehouse.com for pre-order, I believe, right now, at the price tag of $179.95. A little bit pricey, but for these daily trainers with plates in them, it's kind of in the ballpark. If you're interested in picking up your own pair of the Super Comp Trainer V2, please go to the link in my description of this video. Click it and pick up your own pair. Just keep in mind these are affiliate links with Running Warehouse. However, it doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can keep making these very fun videos. I hope that if you're watching this video, you're really listening to what I'm saying here and not just totally writing this shoe off. I Truly do enjoy the Supercom Trainer V2. It is a comfortable, fun, exciting ride and will be great for all different types of runs and distances and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I wish is that it still had some of that magic that the Supercom Trainer V1 does. And it has some of it. Still feels great, just not quite as wow. Right now, version 2 will be getting plenty of miles for me, especially during my marathon training this summer coming up soon. And maybe sometimes I'll whip out the original, do some miles in that as well. Well, everyone, that concludes my first impressions of the New Balance Supercom Trainer V2. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Oh, and looks-wise, I mean, this kicks this to the curb. Like, this is a good looking shoe. An amazing colorway. I have another video for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like heller. See you next time.